store, Hunter Street Northeast. I'm pretty much catty-cornered behind that area. And we appreciate that y'all tore down that house. There was a lot of issues there, and it was an eyesore. But we would prefer to keep it. Everyone in our area, we've all discussed it. We like to keep it single family versus a duplex. We've had issues on the street, a lot of speeding already, and it's only 6 houses on the whole 2 little blocks. So we do have children out there, animals, our pets, and my pets have been run over out there. We get trash thrown in our yards. I bought an old dilapidated house. I'm redoing it, and people just drive by and throw their trash in my yard. And I'm constantly cleaning up behind other people. We prefer to keep single family if possible. And I just don't think at this point anyone within our area really wants a duplex there. We already still having problems over at Mussey and Connor with the sewage issues, the flooding areas with the sewage and water issues, and a single family home would work better than a duplex in our opinion. And that's all. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Further? Yes, sir.
Joseph Carroll again. This lot is apparently just a 1/4 acre. Those are going to be the smallest duplexes I've ever seen. Keep that in mind. These give a new meaning to tiny homes.
Lynn Sweat. Again, I'm going to go back as a repeat, I guess. It sounds to me like we're coming up with Live Oak becoming a big duplex county. We're talking about, I think we're mentioning now 3 just tonight, and then the one that's in the future of duplexes and motels and hotels and all that. We are not Suwannee County anymore. We're not the farmland. We're not the country people anymore. Where are we going? I mean, it seems like all of these lots that are coming available in town even are duplexes now. I mean, it's a little duplex here, it's a tall duplex here. Where does it stop? Suwannee County in Live Oak itself, the city limits, is going to be nothing but duplexes. We got away from a lot of the older type trailer parks because that was an issue. Now we're going into duplexes. So my thing is, where does it stop? I'm like Wade said, why can't we just do single family homes?
Any further public comments? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing section. Be the pleasure of the council.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
I don't know how you ask this question too.
Well, first we
Ask
have
it.
a motion.
Oh, yeah, we'll
We'll go ahead, okay, I'm gonna make a motion so that we can bring it up for discussion. I'm going to make a motion for ordinance 1530, am I on the right one?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
1531, amending the zoning district.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Now we can have discussion.
Question, I see what they're trying to do for the duplex. Can that still be a single family? George, talk to me, please.
The requested zoning allows for either a single-family home or a duplex. It's based on the acreage, and the assigned land use that's already there is up to 8 units per acre. So when you look at about 1/4 of an acre, then you get the equivalent of 2 units or a duplex. It could be 2 single-family homes if they could arrange it on the property to meet setbacks, or 1 duplex. Or if they decided to scrap the idea of 2 units, then they could do 1 single-family home under the requested zoning. It also allows for that.
I can say one thing, everybody in that neighborhood is gonna fight that single family
So
home.
the public hearing section's been closed. So.
I know, I'm just telling
All
you.
right, well, just telling you know that the public hearing section is closed.
So, councilman, attorney, can we change what goes on that property? opposed to single family unit versus duplex?
No, you're left with changing the zoning classification.
Okay.
And then whatever zoning classification it is, then the planning department will make sure that the density or what can be put on it would be appropriate for that classification. This is not one you can condition to change the zoning and say, we'll give you the zoning changes, you gotta put a single family house. I understand that single families allowed now without the change.
Right.
They can do less, they can't do more.
Right. That was not my question, Council.
Further discussion? I think just, I mean, it's not an enviable position that we're put in up here, but it's one that we are put in, and we have to balance or I'm speaking for myself and not for everyone obviously, but balance the need for places for people to put a roof over their heads versus what's out there available. And I do mess with, I am a realtor also. So, things are super, super expensive right now still. And there's not, a lot of affordable options out there. So, I mean, I hope that some of you guys, or all of you, understand that while we do make decisions up here, it's necessarily maybe not to what you might agree with all the time, but it's just one we have to make and we consider the entire city, and then not just one specific area, one specific corner. So I mean, I don't take these decisions lightly when we make them. Is what I'm saying. And so it's a balance between what we really need and what people need, and sometimes what we really want. And sometimes we don't always get what we want. At least I don't always get what I want. So just want to put that out there. But we'll go ahead and roll call this. And I'm sorry, I'm misquoted.
If you do a duplex, then you get 1,700 and 1,700. What's that? 3,400. But if you put one house, then you get your 1,700. Sure, I'd rather put me a duplex.
Well, if you can find a brand new house for $1,700 a month, then you're doing way better than I am.
Maybe you could get it less than 3,400.
Well, I mean, that's all. Obviously, I'm not arguing that with you. I'm just saying, I understand finances, but.
I just want to say, as we make these decisions, that we definitely need to keep in mind what we want our city to look like, where we want to go with our city. So, we've all voted. Just think about that. Think about the future and where we're headed.
Any further discussion?
Let me ask George one more question. George, on this residential office, that can be single residential and an office if they chose to build that, or a duplex on it?
It does allow for a home to be divided up, and you could have a professional office in half the home, and you could have living arrangements in the other half. Or you could have a separate professional office on the property. They would have to, if it transitioned to a commercial endeavor under that residential office zoning, then you have the engineering that would be required to provide parking, stormwater, driveways, landscaping, buffering, besides meeting setbacks. And so usually to do a professional office, you need at least 3/4 of an acre or an acre of property to accommodate all the commercial standards that we have. It's unlikely that somebody could figure out a way to fit that on there at that size property. Possible, but not likely.
All right, we had a roll call. Mr. Alford.
We got no one.
I say no.
Robinson, no.
Jefferson, no.
Campbell would have been a yes. So final reading of ordinance 1531 is not approved.
Do they have to make a motion now for denial based on one of the 16 points, Mr. Kennedy? Okay.
You want to clarify that? I'm sorry.
Sure, so you just failed to pass the ordinance. The only other option available would be a motion, well, there's two options, a motion to table it for more information or more discussion at a future meeting. Or somebody could make a motion for denial of the ordinance, and they would have to cite one of the 16 points that's found in the land development regulations as their basis, because should the owner decide to challenge the council's denial, if it should pass, it would go to a circuit court judge level, and the court would weigh the evidence that was presented to you for approval versus whatever evidence you cite on the 16 points that was your justification for denial, and they would make a decision whether the council acted appropriately or not, and either find in agreement with the council's action to deny, or they would remand it back to the council and basically override the denial. That's what I've seen in the past. So that's why there's 16 points on the ordinance. And so in order to deny, you have to cite one or more of those as justification, and then there would have to be a majority vote for denial.
All right, so, Mr. Attorney,
On page 2 and 3 of the ordinance, they're enumerated.
So if you make a motion to deny and you cite one of those grounds, again, in more legal terms, is the court would decide if it was challenged whether there was substantial legal competent evidence presented that would allow you to deny it on one of the 16 grounds.
Well, we can table it, right?
You can table it if you wanted to study it further.
Study it further and then to bring it back and have our
maybe get some more
points.
information from the landowner.
Okay.
That
So I'm
would
going
be
to make a
best.
motion that we table this, but I do have a question for Mr. George. All of this comes up for you in the planning and zoning board.
Yes.
Do you not look out for these type issues of maybe what direction that someone is trying to put this many properties on such a small,
Right.
look out for the city as to,
So you have a land use map that was adopted with the comprehensive plan back in the 80s, and then it was updated again in the 90s. So you have a land use map where the council set policy on this specific area. And the council set that policy to say that it was desirable and to promote a density of 8 units per acre, is what the council did when they passed that land use map. So that's already in place. So now when somebody comes along and requests a zoning change, they have to meet these 16 points that are in the land development regulations. And the very first one is the proposed change is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. Well, it is, because the council already established an 8 unit per acre density back in the 90s.
back in the 90s.
Right. So then we have to look at all the other criteria. You have 2 other properties that are right next door to this property that have already gone through a zoning change to RO. So if that zoning wasn't desired to be in that area, the very first one that came along that set the precedent for that neighborhood should have been denied. So you had one come along, and then you had a second one come along, and then this is the third. So when you study all the criteria that are part of the 16 points, unless somebody comes up with competent substantial evidence to the contrary, if they meet the criteria that's enumerated, then there's no basis for denial, unless the council finds otherwise.
just to point out as well, we passed this the first time in the last council meeting
I think I voted no.
with, I say we,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just got done that, but it got passed the first time. So the same 16 points, so I'm just bringing that to everyone's attention as well.
So it's basically until we make changes to this land use map. It's probably so outdated. numbers.
So what will be the pleasure of the council then?
Wait a minute, don't we already have a motion and a second?
We have a motion, I didn't hear a second.
Huh?
I said we had a motion to table for further study.
No, but did we rescind the first motion to accept? Did we do anything?
We
voted.
voted to
Voted on
open it up for discussion.
You voted no,
Right,
and then three other members voted no.
right.
Councilman Campbell voted yes.
Now,
So it failed.
4-1. Now, according to, we have to have another motion.
Right.
Either asking for a tabling or denial.
And a denial must specifically state what
Correct.
evidence you've heard that would meet, that would not fall within the 16 points of criteria.
correct.
And as I understand it, George, the planning and zoning board goes through those.
They passed a resolution that has the 16 points enumerated on the resolution, so they've already found through their process that the request met the requirements.
Have,
So we have to have a motion one way or the other for either of those two options, denial or table.
I'm gonna make a motion that we table this to.
Table until,
Until our next meeting, until we can go through the,
until the June meeting.
yeah, the June.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to table until the June meeting. I'm going to go roll call again, just for clarification. All three of us.
Ron Robinson, yes.
Jefferson, yes.
All right, and I'll vote no to table it, but 4-1. Passes, so that motion is passed, I should say. All right, going on to the next item, which is K.
Ordinance number 1533, an ordinance voluntarily annexing certain real property into the city limits of Live Oak, Florida, and redefining the boundary lines of the municipality to include said property, providing for severability, conflict, and effective date.
I'll make a motion that.
All right, first we have to open up public comments and public comment section, and start with Mr. Curtis again.
While he's pulling it up, I'll explain a little bit about it. This is, if you go behind Big Woods and go up Vista Drive to Mesa Street, there's a subdivision up there. And when the surveyors initially surveyed it out, there's a little strip of land between the land that Mr. Milton Smith has been developing and Mr. Dennis Music's property that was mis-surveyed. It's called a scrivener's error of what is it, 0.09 acres.
0.09 acres in
And
front.
so what he's showing you up there on the very top is just, he's trying to clean up the actual property line.
Right, so this is the public down here on the bottom right hand, and then you have Big Woods Barbecue, and you have the Ag Grove. And then you have a residential subdivision called Canyon Vistas that runs up along Mesa Street. And so the lots that are platted presently for Canyon Vistas is phase 1. And the owner would like to do a phase 2 to continue those lots down to a conceptual cul-de-sac at the end that would mirror what you find on the east side. So the analysis that we did on the property that was annexed back in 2006, which was over 35 acres, versus the legal description of the property as it stands now, there's this 26 by 266 foot triangle that was left out of the legal description from the 2006 annexation. And in order for him to move forward with his subdivision plat to include all of his property and not leave this no man's land that was basically a scrivener's error back in 2006, this would clean up the city limits to mirror the parcel boundary, so to speak. And just for comparison, I divided the square footage of this triangle into a football field, and there would be about 15 of these sized parcels on a football field sized property. So we kind of give you a reference point of how small it really is.
All right. Public comments concerning this? Seeing none, we'll close the public section, hearing section. Council will be the pleasure.
Offer motion that we approve ordinance number 1533.
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign? All right, first reading ordinance 1533. This is passed. Moving on down to item number L.
All right, I've got a couple things to end up with, but on L is a special call meeting for the 27th. It's a CRA meeting night, and basically the auditors that's going to present the 23-24 audit will presenting both the audits for CRA and for the city on that night. To save them time and effort coming back forth to Live Oak, and their scheduling problems, it's better for us to schedule both of those on one night.
Before you move on, does that fit your schedules, Council?
It's mine.
Fit that? All right.
So I've got another thing I need to bring up. So we need to have a transaction, not a transaction, but the city needs to either procure a new contract with H2O or put the Public Works under the leadership of the city in the near future. H2O has representatives sitting here tonight, but it's time's come where their contract's going to end fairly soon, so we're going to have to procure a contract or put it in the city's hands. So it's up to y'all to think about. I just wanted to make sure you knew ahead of time that it's coming time to discuss this with H2O and or procure any other people to do our public works. Just as a point of information at this point.
What's the date on that? What do we have?
I'm not sure. Is it September?
September 30th?
30th, I think. So we're obligated to let H2O know one way or the other, you know, in 120 days ahead of that, what we're thinking about doing.
Which puts us